So if I get this straight, according to the black Hebrews, or so-called Hebrews, I should rather say, I'm a fucking bitch with a fucking wide mouth and fucking glasses. And I'm sitting there going, is all that you can do when you're losing the argument make threats on my life, blackmail me, and curse me as I said, or as they said, but I'm hopefully quoting them correctly so that no one disputes, what they said and what I'm repeating. You get what I mean, but apparently they called me, from what I saw in the video, a fucking bitch with a fucking wide mouth and fucking glasses. So, that unknown to the black so-called Hebrews is pretty clear. And originally, I was just going to give up confronting the black so-called Hebrews, but unfortunately, I can't give up confronting the black so-called Hebrews. Because I tried to make a video from my phone yesterday saying, I'm just going to give up. I pray today find peace and that they're okay with being black, etc., etc. I couldn't send the video because the file was too big and okay, whatever. That happened. Maybe I'll just hook up the phone to the computer later and import the video that way and do whatever. And then this morning, I get a message from this racist saying, oh, the Jews were originally black and this and everything else. And then a friend who had put me into a Facebook group who is apparently Sephardic Jewish and black as well, he has some friends in that group who say, oh, the Ashkenazi Jews really aren't Jews, but they're a bunch of Khazars and this. And so, just for so many reasons, even if I get my life threatened, I have to confront the black so-called Hebrews. And first of all, let me say this. The threat that I received, from what I understand, was apparently, because I saw the video and the person who alerted me was very concerned. Not the person who told the person, but the threat, because the threat wasn't directly toward me, nor was it specific, it was generalized. What happened was, I had received a generalized threat on my life. They said they were going to kill these quote-unquote devils, and it was a generalized threat. They were going to do some, whatever they're going to claim to do on New Year's Eve, and they apparently know where I live on campus. They know where I live within Baltimore and that whole area. They claimed they tracked my IP address and this and everything else, but truth be told, unfortunately, they probably are just bluffing, and they probably saw my address in the public records, and unfortunately, what happens when you stand up for what's right, you get confronted, and when other people lose the argument, they have to bully you, and they have to threaten your life. And for lack of a better term, I'm not Bill O'Reilly, but the same kind of situation that I'm going through is the same kind of situation that Bill O'Reilly has often gone through, where in his case, if the secular progressives lose the argument, then they threaten his life and they threaten his family and everything else and all, whatever you want to call it. And that's what happened to me. Unfortunately, my life was threatened, and then my family's life was apparently threatened because they were saying, oh, we know where your mom lives, for example, and this and everything else. And it just, well, actually they said, oh, we know your mom is home and this and everything else, and there is an investigation that's going into them. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the investigation because I don't want to jeopardize it, but the black so-called Hebrews and the guy who alerted my family member to the threat, by the way, he said, oh, if she takes the videos down, they won't come after you, etc., and da-da-da-da-da. And so that guy is in trouble for blackmailing, in trouble for violating my First Amendment rights, for racism, for a whole slew of other actions that could be connected to not only criminal activity in of itself, but specifically for hate crimes, because he was saying this guy claimed to be a black so-called Hebrew, and he was saying that his cousin was in the cult, and just everything along those lines. And as I said, I can't just stop confronting the black so-called Hebrews, because it's not just about them. It's about, as I was alluding to, this one guy who said, oh, the Ashkenazim really aren't Jews, and this and that. I mean, as I said before, there are cases where, as cited on Khazaria.com, which is a study of the Kingdom of Khazaria, and which is a study of the Jewish populations, especially those who were affected by the Khazar Kingdom and what have you. There are cases where there are Jews who are descended from Khazars, like myself. As I've made clear, my cousin took a DNA test, and we found that we were Levites who were descended from Khazars. So if you want to put it more delicately, we were, if you will, matrilineal Levites who were descended from Khazars. So we're matrilineal Levites of Khazar descent. And as I made clear, our last name just happens to be Bosco and variants of all that and what have you. And the point is, I can't, as I said, I can't just stop because, you know, I think about the Boscos / Boscos and all my other family members. And another thing is, too, like, I was thinking when that guy said, oh, the Ashkenazim really aren't Ashkenazi, this is a guy who claims to be, for lack of a better term, because the group, if I can find it really quickly, because I have a couple of emails about it, and I'm trying to find my glasses here. I obviously inherited my great-granddad's site. The group is called, if I can find it, I was added to it by a friend, and, oh, the group is called Jews of Color, UK Education of Ancient Jews. There was a lot of stuff going on in that group that I didn't like, including that one guy saying that Ashkenazim really aren't Jews. And the thing is, as I said, because of things where people are saying, oh, you know, Ashkenazim really aren't Jews, even though Ashkenazim, Sephardim, Mizrahim, Lemba, some Falasha, and various other groups have been proven to be Jewish. Just because, first of all, just because Ashkenazim are the majority of Jews nowadays does not mean that we have a monopoly over Judaism. And the one guy was saying, too, he said something along the lines of, I'm trying to quote him, he said, the rabbinites need to behave. They're a bunch of, they converted to Judaism, or along those lines. His frustration, if he really is Jewish, comes from being a Sephardi who's seeing too many Ashkenazim, and unfortunately this has happened too many times. A lot of Ashkenazim do think, okay, because we're the majority of Jews, we have a monopoly over Judaism. And so, I guess I just wanted to get that issue out of the way firstly to say, you know, that just because Ashkenazim are Jews, and just because Ashkenazi Jews are the majority of Jews, does not mean that we have a monopoly over Judaism. And while Ashkenazi Jews do not have a monopoly over Judaism, and this was basically the whole point of the video, that doesn't mean that the Sephardim and the Mizrahim and the so-called black Hebrews and the whoever else can just attack Ashkenazim and say, oh, you're not really Jews and this. And because I'm an Ashkenazi Jew, and because I'm a Batanosim, and basically just a, for lack of a better term, a Jew with a very interesting family history, even if I get my life threatened, I can't just be quiet and just shut up and say, oh, I'm not going to stand up because, oh, I'm going to get my life threatened and this and everything else. I have to either choose to stand with my people and die with my people, or just be a coward. I think of that poem where it goes, first they came for the communist or whoever it was, and it's like, first they came for the communist, but I didn't say anything because I wasn't a communist, and then they came for basically everyone else, and it's like, then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew, and this and everything else. In my case, it would be the then they came for the Jews, but I didn't say anything because I was too damn scared as a Jew. And so as I said, either I'm going to stand up with my people, even if I have to die with my people, or I'm just going to be a coward. And, by the way, if you're going to go after someone, don't go after my family. If you have to, go after me. And, as I said, your problem is not with my family. Because even my family has said, hey, we don't want you doing this. You know, it could be too much trouble or whatever. And, as I said, if you're going to come after anyone, come after me. And by the way, it's not me you have a problem with. It's God. It's the scientist who did the DNA test. But then again, you don't have the problem with the scientist who did the DNA test and found the J1 and J2 and other markers in Ashkenazic Jews. You have the problem with the God who created the Jewish DNA and gave that Jewish DNA to the Ashkenazi Jews. So really, if you have a problem, don't come after me, don't come after my family, but especially don't come after my family. You know, if you have a problem, for lack of a better term, come after God. And that's all I have to say on that, because I'm going to continue to stand up for my people, even if it means that my life is threatened. But take your issues with being black or Sephardi or whoever you are, take your issues up with God. Don't take them up with me, and don't take them up with the scientist who did a DNA test, and especially don't take your issues up with my family, because my family has nothing to do with this.